Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Amma ba'du. Bayanu naw'in akhar min anwa' salat al-khawf. Clarifying yet another method or type from the types or methods of the fear prayer. And this is the last hadith, walillahi alhamd, in the book of Salah. And next there is the book of Janaiz. The book of Janaiz, the book of funeral prayers, which is different than the book of Salah. Inshallah ta'ala. الحديث السابع وخمسون بعد مية 157 عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري رضي الله عنهما, may Allah be pleased with both Jabir and Abdullah. قال, he said, شهدت مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة الخوف. I witnessed along with Allah's Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم the fear prayer. فصففنا صفين خلف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So we stood up, we lined up in two rows behind Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَالْعَدُوُّ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَ الْقِبْلَةِ. And the enemy between us and between the Qibla, meaning they were in the direction of the Qibla, the enemy. In the previous two hadith, it was talking about the imam or the enemy not being in the direction of the Qibla, right? Here, this is another type. What happens when the enemy is between the Muslim army and the Qibla? وَكَبَّرَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَكَبَّرْنَا جَمِيعًا. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made the takbir for entering into the salat, takbiratul ihram. And we made takbir all together, meaning both rows. ثُمَّ رَكَعَ وَرَكَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. And then he bowed down and we bowed down all together, meaning both rows. Here we are. ثُمَّ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ مِنَ الرُّكُوعِ وَرَفَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. And then he raised his head from ruku', from the bowing position, and we raised up all together, both rows. ثُمَّ انْحَدَرَ بِالسُّجُودِ. And then he bent down for sujood. وَالصَّفُّ الَّذِي يَلِيهِ. And the row that was right after him, connected to him, the one right behind him. وَقَامَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرِ. And the second or the last row stood fi nahr al-adu, watching or guarding, looking out for the enemy, right? Looking out for fighting the enemy, looking out, engaging with them, right? فَلَمَّا قَضَى النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ سُجُودٍ. So when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم finished the sujood, وَقَامَ الصَّفُّ الَّذِي يَلِيهِ. And the group behind him stood, and حَضَرَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرِ بِسُجُودٍ. Then the second row went down into sajda. وَقَامُوا. And then they stood up. ثُمَّ تَقَدَّمَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرِ. And then the صف الْمُؤَخَّرِ, the second row, the last row, came forward. They moved through the ranks and they came forward behind the imam. وَتَأَخَّرَ الصَّفُّ الْمُقَدَّمِ. And the first row went back. ثُمَّ رَكَعَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَرَكَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made ruku' and we all made ruku', both rows. ثُمَّ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ مِنَ الرُّكُوعِ وَرَفَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. And then he raised his head from ruku' and we raised our head all together. ثُمَّ انْحَدَرَ بِسُجُودٍ. And then he went down into sujood, into prostration. وَالصَّفَّ الَّذِي يَلِيهِ. And the row that is behind him, الذي كان مؤخرا, the one that was before the last row, في ركعة الأولى, in the first rak'ah, فقام الصف المؤخر من نهر العدو. So then the second row, which was the first row in the first rak'ah, stood up facing and engaging with the enemy. فلما قاد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم السجود, so when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم finished the sujood, والصف الذي يليه, and the row that's behind him, and حضر الصف المؤخر بالسجود, then the second row went down and made sajda. فسجدوا ثم سلم صلى الله عليه وسلم وسلمنا جميعا, and then he made the taslim and we all made the taslim. قال جابر رضي الله عنه كما يصنع حرسكم هؤلاء بأمرائهم, just like your guards do, these guards of yours do with their leaders. Talking to whoever he's talking to, describing the salah. طيب. This is the third kind. And this is the last one being mentioned here. It's the last of the book of Salat. وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ مِنْ فَوَائِدِ وَأَحْكَامِ الْحَدِيثِ. From the virtues and benefits of the hadith. أولا وجوب محافظة على الصلاة في وقتها على أي حال كانت. The obligation of guarding and preserving the salat in its proper time in any condition or situation that you're in. Right? This hadith is in Muslim, not in Bukhari, but similar to it is in Bukhari here. But in Sahih Muslim 840, in Nasai Volume 3 175. I'm not sure which print to use. Likewise, Bukhari here. This is probably Fathul Bari. Allah knows best. ثانيا, secondly, وجوب صلاة الجماعة على الرجال حضرا وسفرا. The obligation of congregational prayer upon the men, whether they are at home as residents or travelers, في حال الأمن والخوف, in the condition or the situation or the time of being in peace or in fear. ثالثا, thirdly, جواز تخلف المأموم, the permissibility of the imam differing, of the follower, ma'mum, of the follower differing عن الإمام, differing with the imam, في صلاة الخوف, in the fear prayer, للمصلحة, due to some benefit that will be received. رابعا, fourthly, حسن التنظيم الإسلامي وعدالته, the excellent organization of Islam and its justness, fairness, and balance. With this, we continue the book of Salat, and next will be Salatul Janaiz, inshallah ta'ala. هذا والله تعالى أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.